Skinhead.
I always ask them, is there any skinheads in the audience? And they would say, yeah, quite a lot, and it makes me happy. 'Cause when I see them, I know what I'm going to expect. I know. You get what I mean? So I do like skinheads coming to my shows.
When a skinhead walks down the street, every chick hop, skip a beat. Skinhead. 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 The chick that said that they're looking cute in the braces and the power boot. The chick that said that they're looking cute in the braces and the power boot. Skinhead. Skinhead. Skinhead.
True skinheads, you know, they're into reggae music. They like oi and stuff like that as well. You know, that's like homegrown music for skinheads, which we didn't have the first time round. No doubt, if there would have been oi bands in '69, we'd have all been into stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Oi is about having a laugh, having a say. Oi is a Cockney expression. Oi!
Oi, 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 chosen few, this is what we think of you. Oi, 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 chosen few, this is what we think of you. Suburban rebels, plan of race. You are free urban terrorists. You don't scare us with your badges and banners. You don't fuck all about every manners.
We were like a punk generation. You know, we were angry and we wanted to, you know, we got together and we thought, fuck the world. Do you know what I mean? And that's really what it was all about. And the sort of, the skinhead thing above anything is the only cult ever that's been true.
Well, our music's just got a point, like a strong point about life for kids and all that. It's about kids on the street, so why shouldn't they listen to it? You know, all the gangs about and all that, they're all just raving rappers. It's just a load of crap.
So the oi thing was more of an attitude. It is that sort of believe in yourself, stand up for yourself, fight for yourself attitude. And as long as people have got the not necessarily with society, but with the way they're told to do things, you're always going to have some form of oi music.
The only bad reputation oi music has got, really, is because of the white noise bands, you know, the fascist punk bands. And they themselves don't call themselves oi, they call themselves like nationalist rock or some sort of crap like that. But real oi music, it's never had anything to do with, you know, fascist politics or anything like that.
We never really associate itself with the oi thing, although our music was very similar at the beginning to oi and sort of skinhead kind of punk music, whatever.
Skinheads in the papers, skinheads just can't fall. The finish from blacks with baseball bats, racism back in row. White group picking up Nazi flags, white group ready for war. This is the West, get used to it. The brothers wants to go over your door. Under the guard.
Everything other than white pride is allowed to be pushed through, and even if you got, you know, you're allowed to have a cop killer on your television program saying, yeah, buy my records, I'm a big black murderer, but you can't have somebody sitting on the television saying, these are my records, I sing about white pride, it's about pride in my race, I don't hate anybody because of their colour of skin, I'm just very proud of the colour of the skin that I've got.
Under the guards, one step over the red line.
Blood Honour basically was an organisation started because they wanted to break away from the White Noise Club, which was controlled by the National Front. Although the bands involved, I would say, were definitely right-wing and along those lines, they were seeing that the National Front were taking advantage of the bands and not paying anybody and basically ripping everybody off. And although we wanted to keep the politics the same, most people in the bands and you know, organisers in that kind of field felt it important to run an independent thing, totally independent of any political group, so we could bring in anybody basically who believed in the survival of the white race.
An earthquake
erupting, but not in Orange Street. A ghost dance is preparing. You got to help us with your feet. If you're not in the mood to dance, step back, grab yourself a seat. This may not be uptown Jamaica, but we promise you a treat. Bust up on me over with your bogus dance, shuffle me off my feet.
When Skinheads developed second time round, you know, the National Front started infiltrating because basically they just wanted stormtroopers. Do you know what I mean? So they thought, who's the best people to fight our fight for us? So they thought, we know, working class youth who we can mould and what have you.
The skinhead way of life came to Germany as an already distorted kind of movement because at the time when it came to Germany, the National Front already had some sort of impact on the whole movement in England. So when it came to Germany, it was, as I said, distorted in some kind of way. And there were lots of people thinking that I'm right-wing, so I have to dress up like a skinhead.
Skinheads in East Germany exist since about 86, something like that. But because there were no real connections to England, so we didn't have the background here. So most of them were of course, right-wing and just cut their hair and wore, well, we didn't have bomber jackets in East Germany, but you know, some kind of boots and that's all.
People who wore skinhead clothes, who were skinheads, were very angry. And so the extremes, they were easy targets. They're easy to pick up and say, you know, believe what we say and you'll be with us and you'll fight for us, and you would have done.
And I walk down the street and I know everybody looking at me thinks Nazi scum. I mean, I know I'm not. My mates know I'm not. But to the normal Joe in the street, that's what I'm at.
The minute they see skinheads, they go, oh, bloody Nazis.
And that is wrong.
And that is wrong. What, to me, you should say, oh, he's patriotic, he loves his country and that, and he's...
Just a culture, same as
you know, it's a culture, it's a way of life.
When you think of where you came from, it must fill your heart with pride.
Skinhead comes from England, and these are the roots, and I believe in them. So I wear a Union Jack, and I believe in England and the skinhead roots, and so I wear the Spartan.
Praise the Lord, you was made in England.
People harp on about, you know, the old days in the 60s and stuff like that with the reggae music and stuff. Even back then there were racist skinheads and all that sort of thing, but not so much maybe affiliated to political parties. But in the late 70s and 80s and as of now, I think that the connection is definitely there.
If you know where your history comes from, which is a mixture of British and Jamaican working class cultures, how can you be a racist? By being racist, you're denying your heritage.
When we used to go and see Bad Manners and Madness and stuff like that, and although even some of the bands that would have like black musicians and that sort of thing, there was never that two-tone thing being pushed down your throat, and the whole place was full of skinheads, and most of them were right-wing.
I think a lot of people there just go along like you do to a football match and get tagged. You know, you see people going, hey, and you think, oh yeah, that looks good, without really knowing what you're doing.
Politicians will go for the skinhead cult because of the passion involved in skinhead. So it's easy for an extreme party to grab hold of passionate kids and say, believe in us and have passion, whether it be the Nazis, the lefties, the blooming Ban the Bombs, whoever it may be.
I mean, I remember coming out of a Bad Manners gig in the Rainbow in North London, and there must be about 500 skinheads came out, and they all walked underneath this arch with Zeke Island and stuff, and a couple of blacks got beaten up and stuff, but there was a very high presence of right wing, and there was never any suggestion of any left wing thing, even though the two-tone thing probably could be, you know, sort of traced back to the black and white business.
But it's very difficult, you know, to do anything to promote racial harmony. I mean, we used to get a lot of stick for not really coming out with some sort of political agenda. You know, we used to just sort of talk to some of these people and try and turn them around or whatever, you know, or find out why they thought like that.
politics is what's done most of the damage to the skinhead cult over the years. It's torn it completely in half. I mean, it's a personal thing. I mean, I've got my own politics, but they're not to do with me being a skinhead, they're to do with me being a person.
To me, it's obvious. It's not politics that have ruined the scene. It's the fascists have ruined the scene with their politics.
There's no real contradiction, I don't think, in the fact that a skinhead can be white power. I think that the contradiction would be left-wing skinheads or black skinheads, because I don't see that they can be, really, because it's a white working class cult.
What you get from black people is like an unnecessary grief, because you don't expect it, you don't need it, do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I am a black person, so just let me do what I've got to do, do you know what I mean? And let me get on with it, do you know what I mean? But they don't look at it like that, they look at it as like, you're a traitor.
A lot of Nazis put you down because you're not white or whatever, and the skinheads came out from being, oh, it was a white, you know, gang or whatever. It wasn't about that, though.
Everyone said that, you know, all the skinheads are Nazis and that. And there's no way we're Nazis. I mean, my father fought Nazis in the war. All our dads did. There's no way we're Nazis, but the Anti-Packy League was different. That doesn't make us Nazis. I'm English. I'm British, and I'm proud to be English and British.
But we don't say we're Nazis like because we like our country and that. We're the best of Nazis, the British movement.
Pressure drop, oh pressure, oh yeah, pressure gonna drop on you. I say, pressure drop, oh pressure, oh yeah, pressure gonna drop on you. I say, and when it drop, oh you gotta feel it, oh what you were doing wrong. I say, and when it drop, oh you gotta feel it, oh what you were doing wrong.
Both sides just want to like use you, you know, like either like the far left or the far right just want to like use skinheads like as scapegoats for whatever, you know what I mean? Just like the Klan wanted to use skinheads to do their dirty work or whatever, then there's like whatever else groups like the Anti-Nazi League want to use skinheads and everything.
Most skinheads are right-wing, and possibly they don't choose to be right-wing, but they become skinheads, but they become right-wing because they're in a position to see things as other people don't.
Rude boy, stand and fight for the right to live in shanty town. Rude boy, stand and fight for the right to live in shanty town. Jack, leg, diamond, still out iron to your mother. Jack, leg, diamond.
Skinheads Against Racial Prejudice started in '88 in New York. People like didn't understand it, you know, because in New York was weird times back then. It was really rough, you know, like even there were black Nazi skinheads, you know.
Sharp is not an organisation. Sharp is just a statement for expressing the way you feel. If you're a true skinhead who acknowledges your history, hates racism, is into your reggae music and stuff like that, wear a Sharp badge with pride. So Joe Public will see you with your badge on and think, oh, I got it wrong. Not all skinheads are racist.
I think that the idea of Sharp was very important for the whole of Germany because it brought the idea it published the idea that not every skinhead has necessarily to be a racist. But the problem was that people believed that by putting a Sharp badge on their jacket, it was some sort of movement.
He says that the Sharp often use their badge as kind of excuse. If they meet a Turkish gang on the street, they'll point on their badge and say, look, I'm not Nazi, I'm not fascist, I'm with you. And if boneheads come along, they like, Sie Kyle, go along like that, you know? That's what he said.
Well, we get attacks from both sides, from the Sharps and even from the right wings too. So we actually really stand on our own.
Norwegians, they don't like Nazis. Like Norway was occupied by the Nazis and we feel that the Nazis should be kept away. So we made this Sharp patch and we told our friends that you put this on or you fuck off.
But after a while, I mean, it started to get a lot of shit because a lot of people thought it was sort of a group fighting against fascism.
At this point in the skinhead movement's history, I don't really see where it's needed. And I don't see why you should have to wear a Sharp patch or anything like that to prove that you're not into it. I mean, the general public doesn't like us anyway, so, you know, why bother to impress them with stuff like that?
I think it's a great shame that some skinheads get into their heads that they have to always go around apologising, almost falling over themselves to say, look, we're not racist, without even considering what racism is and what being racist is about.
The best development that I've seen in the cult today is the whole non-political movement. The fact that skinheads are like dropping politics generally, you know, like no racist element, no sharp. That skinheads are just interested in being skinheads, and I see that aspect really growing. And I think that's one of the best things about it. And if that'll continue to grow, maybe we can get things back to the way they were in 1969.
Skinheads in the world, you know? And I think we should just fucking get together, hang out, get rid of the politics. I would say to the Nazis to like just tell the fucking Ku Klux Klan or whoever hires them to be grunts to just drop them. You know, they could think for themselves. I'll welcome you as a brother, as long as you don't put your politics on to me.
I suppose the best thing you could say is, if you ain't got the nerve to stand by your roots, maybe it's time you hung up your boots.
Because you're young, sharp as a knife, you need that buzz to come alive. Out on the edge, out on the town, you ain't got time to settle down. You're always sure, you're always right. You see it all in black and white. You never listen to anyone because you're young. Because you're young, you're torn between a world of life and a world of dreams. So much to lose, so much to gain, so much to fight for, so much to change. You don't look back, you don't look down. You're gonna turn everything around. You live your life like a loaded gun because you're young.
I think it should be remembered for the beauty of youth and how people can make something better out of their environment and out of themselves. Even if it's for a couple of years and they go off to drink beer and just become a fat slob, it doesn't matter. Then 2 years they believed in themselves.
I gotta have money to raise a family and support some kids and to have a wife and to have a life. Other than that, I'm gonna end up in jail, I'm gonna end up dead. And within Portland, it'll be too easy to end up dead.
I suppose the best memories are when I was a kid, when I was like 12, 13, 14, going up to youth clubs, you know what I mean? Dancing to reggae music. During the summer, going down the beach on a bank holiday with all the boys, like. It was just the fun of being a youth. That's really what being a skinhead was all about.
I don't think skinheads will ever have to be remembered. They'll always be here, you know? Sort of part of the mainstream of society now.
You know you're gonna find a smiling face somewhere, almost anywhere in the world when you're a skinhead, that's for sure. As long as you can find a real one out there, he'll give you a handshake and buy you a pint, and he'll do the same if you come to your town, you know?
To remember it is basically a group of people that were interested in a way of dressing, a way music, a way of life, and enjoyed themselves.
I'd like to think that the cult would be remembered as a group of young people that took pride in themselves, took pride in the way they looked, and not the way it's obviously going to be remembered if it carries on the way it's going.
It'd be nice for it to come back from the music and the clothes, leaving the politics well out.
I think that skinheads should be remembered as the ultimate cult, the ultimate youth cult, and you know, I think that skinheads have far outlived their sell-by date as of, you know, printed by the authorities.
You know, the crop stays with you 24 hours a day. The tattoos aren't going anywhere for the rest of my life, you know. I mean, it's something that, you know, it's not a uniform I put on, you know, just to hang out on the weekends with my friends at the mall or whatever. It's something I live.
I think Skinheads will be remembered by passion. It's about passion, and it's not about fashion. It's about a way of life, it's about your armour, it's about your manhood, it's about your friends, you know, your whole environment.
We were horrible gigs, really. Do you know what I mean? We were horrible. I mean, we all said, oh, people picking us, but we were 20 of us walking into a pub and we were big blokes, you know, being loud and out of order. We weren't angels at all.
I don't think any other cult captures that feeling of rebellion and that feeling of strength, of comradeship as being a skinhead.
The reason why it was so feared is because it was just so true. Because people couldn't accept that it was just such a staunch way of life for people. And it wasn't a fashion, as everyone hoped and thought it would be. It was a way of life.
Reggae! We'd live and die for Friday night, off to the pally and have a fight. Dance to reggae most of the night when we were skins. Above all this, our one big hope was pull a bird and have a grope. And if you were lucky, she'd take your own when we were skins.